Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Got a pretty sweet DIY project to share with you this week, and it's all for a great cause. You might remember my very first YouTube video where I fixed up a well-loved 1966 Framus Texan acoustic guitar, and working on that beauty got me thinking, if I can fix one, maybe I can build one too. Which brings us here. I'm going to be building a full electric guitar kit, and once it's done, it'll be auctioned off, and I'll donate all the proceeds to Northern Critters in Need, which is a local animal rescue charity. So, picked myself up a guitar kit from Solo Music Gear, which for Canadian guitar geeks is essentially a candy store. They've got body and neck blanks, full guitar kits, all of the hardware and finishing supplies you'll need to take yourself from, wonder if I can build a guitar to, holy shit, I built a guitar. And just so you know, I reached out to Solo in advance of this project, and they were cool enough to offer me a pretty generous discount code to collaborate. Even better, they said I could share a discount code with you as well. So if you need any supplies or kits or anything else from the website, stick around to the end of the video and I'll share the code. I mean, you could just skip to the end right now, but like, don't be a hoser, eh? This is probably gonna end up being a 3-part video series, so let's kick it off by looking at the kit and some of the supplies I ordered from Solo, as well as some of the other things I had on hand that I'll need to finish the kit. Let's go. So for this build, because it's going up for auction, I wanted a guitar shape that's classic, cool, and pretty much guaranteed to appeal to most players. So I ordered this Telecaster kit. It's timeless, no nonsense, and basically the blue jeans of electric guitars. The body's basswood, nice and lightweight, and topped with this gorgeous spalted maple veneer. Check that out. Just enough character, but not too overwhelming. It's also got some nice, simple black binding around the edges. It came with this somewhat pearlescent 3-ply pickguard, complete with a pre-installed neck pickup. And there's even little springs back here that let you adjust the pickup height. And here we have the neck. I'll admit the fret ends were a bit sharp out of the box. They definitely wouldn't have passed the Phil McKnight stocking test, if you know what I mean. And I'll show you how I tackled these frets later on in the prep section. Aside from that, it's a nice maple telly neck with a smooth rosewood fretboard. And the headstock even has room for a little something something. Spoiler alert! And then there's the bag of bits, which I've semi-taken apart and put in this box. Comes with the traditional telly style bridge with the bridge pickup. Then there's this little bag of tuners. They're unbranded, but they do the tuner thing. There's the control unit with the volume and tone knob, as well as the 3-way switch. We've got the neck and jack plate. We've got some strap buttons and screws. Finally came with some strings, guitar cable, and an Allen key, which I presume lets you adjust the truss rod. There's also this one tiny screw that I'll probably drop on the floor and lose at some point because it's tradition. All right, so that's a rundown on the kit itself. Next up, we'll take a look at the tools and finishing supplies and all the stuff I grabbed to hopefully make things look and sound awesome. So I grabbed myself a small pot of conductive shielding paint for the control and pickup cavities to hopefully help reduce radio interference and noise. I'm going to be using water-based wood dye for the body to really bring out the character in that spalted maple veneer. This stuff is great, easy to work with, low odor, and it dries pretty fast, which means fewer hours sitting around and impatiently staring at wood. We've all been there. I've got black, dark walnut, and sesame. I'll lock in my dyes with a few light coats of the sanding sealer before moving on to the top coat. Not that kind of top coat, though it's quite dashing if I do say. Everything up till now, including the kit and these supplies, was purchased from Solo. After my dye and sanding sealer, my top coat's going to be this water-based satin poly finish. I'm hoping this will give the neck and body a super durable, slick finish. The neck and body are already finished pretty well, but I'm going to work my way through various sandpapers, blocks, and steel wool throughout this project. Finally, I've got a shop vac, a basic cheap luthier repair kit, some masking tape, application pads, some rags, brushes, drop cloths, and gloves because nobody wants weird stained fingers for a week. So that's a game plan, trying to keep things pretty straightforward here, not using any spray booths or pro shop tools, just things that you can easily and cheaply get your hands on. Okay, so the last part of this video will show me doing some of the prep work. The kit comes with an alert notice from Solo Music, which tells you to count and inspect all the components and do a test fit before getting on with your build. It also shows you where to get the wiring diagrams for your particular model. I had to remove my pick guard to get my neck into the body slot, and it's a pretty snug fit. As you can see, I can lift this thing even without the bolts. I'm going to try avoid overly sanding or finishing the heel area where it tucks into the body slot because I don't want it to become too loose of a fit or too tight of a fit. Removing the pick guard allowed me to get a pretty good look at this spalted maple top, which is just striking. I love the pattern down the center. Can't wait to see what this thing's going to look like with some dye and a top coat. This is also when I decided to keep the pick guard because I did a test fit with the neck pickup, and this cavity is just way too big and it doesn't look good. If I were to go without a pick guard, I'd have to plug these screw holes. I don't think that would be too hard. You could use some glue and toothpicks and sand it down. It's pretty light finished wood, so I think those would blend in pretty good. So I've loosely fit everything together. All the screw holes line up pretty good. I guess we won't know till the end, but it's looking promising. All right, here's one final shot of the full raw kit with everything test fit. I'm getting excited. As I mentioned earlier, the fret ends were a little sharp on this neck out of the box. You could definitely use some loving.
I am McLovin.
The first thing I did was touch up some of the fret ends with a 180 grit sanding block. Basically, I just went up and down the side of the neck with the side of my block using some gentle pressure. I was also adjusting the angle a little bit to round off any sharp edges. The next thing I did was take this basic fret crowning file and focused on the ends of the frets at a 45-degree angle. I wasn't trying to take off too much material here, just remove any of the burrs or sharp edges. Lastly, I use the side of this flat file and this fret shield to gently round the fret sides and ends. You can see these scratches on the shield mean that your fretboard isn't going to get wrecked. The whole process only took about 15 minutes. And now the frets feel amazing. Almost professional quality from a total noob. You know what? Since we have the neck easily accessible like this, why don't we give the frets a nice polish, as they are a little dull. Not terrible. They could be better. Now I do own a Dremel tool, and I typically use some polishing compound in this cotton wheel because it's just super fast and easy. But as I said, we're going to keep things as low budget as possible. Instead, we're going to reuse these fret shields from the Luthier kit and some 0000, that's 4 zeros, superfine steel wool. Now the main thing you want to be concerned about here is keeping your magnetic pickups far, far away and using a drop cloth and a vacuum to tidy up any metallic fibers that fall off. Just ripped off some of this steel wool so it's a little more manageable and I don't overshoot my fret shield. Here's a little comparison for you. This is the fret we just did. This is the next one we're going to do. Each fret maybe 10 to 20 seconds, and those are the results you're going to get. So that took about 5 minutes. A little bit of steel wool and some elbow grease, and these things are pretty shiny. Don't forget to clean up any of these little fragments that might have fallen off this when you start working with your pickups. I don't know if you can see that, but there's quite a few particles here. So the final step in our preparation journey is going to be sanding, which is everyone's favorite job, but a necessary evil if you want super smooth finishes and professional results, or as close to professional as we can get. As I said, the neck was already pretty smooth. What I'm going to do is hit it up with some 320 grit, followed by some 1000 grit because I didn't have any 4s or 600s or 800s on hand. Hopefully that'll turn out okay. I've raised the grain a bit with a damp rag. I've let that dry. And let's see how it goes. Okay, that was some sanding. Finished off with a 1000 grit. A couple of parts where you see some of the end grain, picked up some of the blue from my tack cloth, and the 1000 grit didn't take it off. It dulled it. But you know what? In today's day and age, we call that relicking. So we're going to keep it. And once we hit this up with some of that sesame dye later, maybe it'll turn a fancy green. I like it. It's very subtle, nothing crazy. The neck feels unreal. Literally feels like the hood of a brand new car. On to the next sanding job. So we applied the same sanding process to the headstock, and now it's time for that something something. I knew this wouldn't be the only guitar kit built in the Gazelle family home because my daughter has her eyes on one as well. We just needed to come back in stock before we can hit the order button. So I went ahead and ordered this wood branding iron. Let's see how it turns out.
Cool.
So cool. Nice. We'll have to sand some of that yellowing away and let's take a final look. Now it's time to rock that body. So my only real complaint about this top is the veneer thickness, or lack thereof. This thing's less than a millimeter thick, which I guess is how you can make affordable guitar kits. But it means there's some risks that are going to come along with sanding this thing too aggressively. So we're going to have to be very careful here. The finish is pretty good, but slightly rough. I'm not going to go crazy, but I think we could do a little better. I guess if I screw this up, we'll be donating 2 guitar kits to Northern Critters. So I'm going to raise the grain now because I'm using water-based dyes and other water-based finishes. So I'm worried that that might raise the grain, which would make this even rougher. And then if I were to sand back that roughness, I'd be sanding through my dye, which kind of defeats the purpose. And considering we don't have a lot of wiggle room here, I think it makes more sense to do that now. So since this is a larger, flatter surface, I've actually taken one of my foam sanding blocks, rigged up a little palm sanding tool with some masking tape. I would have gone the other way, except it was too narrow and I probably would have had to cut the block. So I went this way, and hopefully this will work. Again, we're going to be using really gentle pressure here. I don't want to take off a lot of material. I really just want to knock down the roughness. And I'm only going to use 320 on the top because I don't want to, I want to kind of keep the grains open a little bit. I don't know, I just figure using something like at about 1,000 prior to dyeing may affect some of the penetration. So I'll just use 320 grit. It would appear that tragedy has been averted. This thing is smooth. And with that, everything's set for part 2 in this kit series, which will show me applying and hopefully not butchering the dye and top coat applications. Just wanted to mention 2 things before signing off. First, I've never built a guitar kit before, but I've watched a lot of videos and read several forums. Obviously, I came across plenty of competing advice when researching how to finish a veneer kit such as this. So I reached out to Solo Music Gear customer support, and they promptly and patiently answered all my questions over email. That was very cool. Secondly, they gave me a promo code to share with you for 5% off your order from their website. This isn't an affiliate link, and I won't make anything if you buy using the code. So please hit the like button if you've enjoyed this project. Please subscribe if you want to continue watching this series. We've still got parts 2 and 3 to come. And maybe share this video with one of your animal-loving guitar nerds. Again, this is a charity build for Northern Critters in Need, and hopefully we can drum up some interest and get people to bid on the auction and make a bigger donation. So till next time, take care of yourself, because you deserve it.